Pawn shops are packed. Payday loans are packed. Thrift stores are packed. The dollar store is packed. You notice a trend here? People are hurting. Nobody got money. And everybody's trying to figure out a way to save money, right? But people are struggling. That's the trend that you're seeing. But you do not want to dig into your 401k to take money out to pay for everyday living expenses. Taking out your 401k is not a smart move. It's just my opinion, but when you put numbers behind it, it also makes sense numerically. Because if you take out $20,000 right now out your 401k, you're taking out the compound interest that you would have gained or the compound growth that you would have gained just by leaving that $20,000 in there from now until you retire. Think about 10% a year on $20,000. That's like $244,000 that you missed out on just by taking out that $20,000 to pay for a car note that you may or may not have made a mistake on. You cannot do that. You do not want to take out your 401k. You also don't want to take out your 401k because of the penalties. I mean, some of these penalties are taking out 10% from the penalty, which means if you take out $20,000, you'll get a 10% penalty on that. So you're paying $2,000, but also your taxes at the end of the year. Because you got more money this year, you got to add that onto your overall income, which means you're going to be taxed at a higher rate. So you're going to be taxed and penalized on taking out the $20,000. Plus, you're going to be taxed at the end of the year for having the extra $20,000 of income. It doesn't make sense. Another reason taking out your 401k doesn't make sense because now you're just adding additional years that you have to work for retirement. That $20,000 again will lead up to almost $244,000 if you had left it in there at 10%. But if you're taking out 200 or the potential of $244,000, that means you just added a couple years to your retirement. So now you can't stop at 67. Now you got to stop at 70 or 72 just to make up for the $244,000 that you potentially would have had just by not taking out that $20,000. That's the difference. And that's why you do not want to dig into your 401k. Now, obviously, there's reasons why you should have to or you must dig into your 401k. And that's if you have to pay, bankruptcy or your house is going to foreclosure. I think those are only two events that would make sense if you have to take out money in your 401k. Other than that, if you got to take out your 401k to pay your car note or pay your rent or to pay somebody's back because they loaned you money, if you're digging into all that crazy stuff, or if you are behind in child support, just get an extra job. It does not make sense for you to go ahead and take all that money out right now to give yourself an additional year to keep on working, but also to be penalized just by taking out your own money. So not only would you miss out on the gains, and you're missing out the future gains and the current gains. So it does not make sense to take out any money out of your 401k. If you need to take out money out of your 401k, that means you need to get an additional job, or you need to ask for a raise, or you need to maybe spend less, stop, or turn your car in. That if it's $1,000 car note, turn it in for a $500 car note. By all means, never, ever dig into your 401k to take out any money for living expenses or anything that's non-emergency, okay? Because it doesn't make sense.